All right, Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. All right, before I begin, a couple quick announcements. If you are interested in signing up for the different classes that I offer, best way to do that, well, the only way to do that is go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. That's patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. Tier 3 is the tier you want to join. Tier 3 gives you access to the 3 private classes that I do every month on Patreon for Patreon members only. And it also gives you access to the group ritual that we do together at the end of the month. All right. There's a bunch of ongoing series on there. There's a Sith Dark Side Alchemy and Philosophy class, Ancient Egyptian Vampiric class. These are all ongoing series. Shadow Work class number 18. We're up to 18 and counting. Esoterical Occult Bible Study class. Telepathic Sorcery. Luciferian Magic and Self-Mastery class. Trying to think, trying to recollect all of them because there's a bunch. Kundalini, Meditation and Awakening class, etc. The list goes on and on. Okay. And again, keep in mind when you join, it gives you access not only to from the day you sign up and join moving forward, but it also gives you access to everything in the archive prior to joining. There's a lot of material on there, a lot of content. But again, as I've said, on the Patreon, I go in a lot more, thorough and deeper as far as the stuff there I'll talk about. I won't talk about per se here on YouTube. We go a lot more in depth. There's ritual work, assignments and exercises. So it's really, again, for those that want to take their spiritual path of self-mastery to that next level. All right. So tier 3 on patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. That's the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page. That's the way you take classes with me. All right. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of readings: telepathic, demonic readings, different kinds, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which again, we're always constantly, mastering the shadow or the hidden self. It's also a great reading to do if you're looking for a sense of direction on this path. You're not sure what kind of ritual work you should be doing or what direction you should be going in. A shadow work reading is great for that and helps assist with that. Deity readings to see what spirits or demons or gods and goddesses that walk with you to further strengthen your relationship with those spirits and demons on this path. And not to worship them, but to connect with them on a more personal level and get a better understanding. Anyway, for a full list of readings that I offer and how to book a reading or a consultation, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you over that information. Also, the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, that's in full effect. You can sign up and register for that right now. That's going to take place October 19th to the 22nd in Hollywood, Florida at Cultural Expressions. On Friday and Saturday, there will be various classes, presentations, workshops, and speakers. In the evening on Friday and Saturday, we will have a group ritual both nights, followed by a group dinner with some socializing, hanging out, having some fun. And then on Sunday the 22nd, we cap the event off with a Q&A session I'll be doing from noon to 4, question and answer on the occult, the left-hand path, or if you want to talk about anything that transpired, over the weekend of the conference. That'll be on Sunday to close the event out. You could also attend virtually, and that gives you access to the classes, workshops, speakers, presentations on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Shoot me an email, and I will send you the information on how you sign up and register for the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference right here in Hollywood, Florida. Minutes from the beach, minutes from Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, close to hotels, Airbnbs, restaurants, and just minutes from the venue. I set it up like that to make it as convenient as possible in case you just want to Uber it or Lyft it and you don't want to rent a car to save that money. It's that convenient. You can do it. All right. Also, check us out on Instagram, one word, Primordial Chaos 9. Also on Facebook, 2 words, Primordial Chaos, where I also upload this new content. And also check out all this new content being uploaded also to the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, the link to the social media pages, Facebook and Instagram, along with the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page. All of that is in the description box of this video that you're currently watching right now. All right? So, what I want to talk about today is creating servitors. Okay? Creating servitors. Now, in essence, creating servitors really is a chaos magic practice. To get a good understanding of it, if you go into a classic book on chaos magic, Liber No by Peter Heim, he goes in depth. But let's talk a little bit about what creating servitor is and chaos magic. Okay, as we know, chaos magic is in a very eclectic path, right? There is no, it can be all over the place, chaotic, obviously. There can be techniques and concepts used that are very unorthodox. It just depends on the practitioner. But servitors, what a servitor is, okay, you're basically tapping into aspects of your psyche, different parts of it, and taking fragments of that psyche and creating entities, or AKA also known as servitors, for specific things and specific reasons, right? So you might create a servitor to increase your knowledge, your wisdom, your understanding. You might create a servitor, it could be for sexual energy, right? You might create a servitor, in the form of some type of warrior energy to remove blockages, to fight spiritual, mental, emotional, or any form of battle or struggle. So just giving you an example, right? The servitors are created by the magician from the different fragments or aspects of their psyche, and it's shaped and formed for those particular reasons. Okay? Now, how you create it, it can be, or your process of how you go and create it. Some go so far and give it, in their mind, its full shape, its full form, how it looks. You might title it, name it. All of that, you're going to see that's going to vary from magician, from person to person. But what we need to really be crystal clear on is when a servitor is created, it's coming from the deep parts of your psyche. That's what you're digging in, because what that servitor represents and what it was created for, that's where you're pulling it from. Which stays in line with what this path is about, self-mastery. You're not going outside of yourself. This is not being created from Spookyville, right? You're using your magical power. And really, in my opinion, yes, even though in essence this is a chaos magic practice, has its roots in chaos magic, it to me is a high form of working a black magic working. Okay? Because you will hear the terms, these 3 terms in certain spiritual systems. You will hear something called greater black magic, medial black magic, and lesser black magic. Okay? And the difference between the 3 is real simple. Lesser black magic is when you're working, and this is what most magicians will use, a majority or the percentage of the time. This is the standard ritual working that you work. It could be the rituals we do monthly together on Patreon. It could be rituals for to gain specific things and not necessarily materialistically. But then there's things of a more intense nature or working that classify. These are just terms, lesser, medial. And medial is somewhere in the middle, which is not something used a lot. And again, these are just terms to describe, to give the practitioner an understanding. But in my opinion, a greater black magic working, servitors, depending on how, why, and the particular reason you're creating, could, in my opinion, fall under that category of a greater black magic working. Now, one also concept in chaos magic to understand, and this is where I draw upon a lot when you hear me use the term, one of the things we strive to do on this path, right? We don't worship spirits or gods or goddess. That's religious. That's monotheistic in nature. That would make us no different than a Muslim, Christian, or a Jew from any of those monotheistic beliefs who believe there is some inferior spook force outside of themselves that is in control of their life, their destiny, and how their existence plays out. Very spooky. Okay, so we don't connect with any of that aspect. Okay, when we talk about monotheism and spookism and things of that nature, but you always hear me using a term. One of our goals is to embody and become what that spirit, God, goddess, demon represents, which is really you when you tap into the different aspects of your psyche and your quote-unquote personal demon, high or true, or your true self. Okay? So to embody or become is to, in essence, to merge one with that energy. Right? Once you gain an understanding of it, that spirit, that demon unlocked from your psyche. Okay? That's important to understand, because once we have a thorough understanding of that, we will stop looking outside of ourselves in faraway places for mystical spooks and spirits to try to bring us salvation, to try to bring us to some place, whether it's called heaven or nirvana or whatever. It's always some scapegoat of a place that's promised to the weak and mortal-minded, where they can escape all their problems, which breeds laziness and ignorance, because then people start to embrace their current circumstances, thinking there's some great pie in the sky or some great reward later. Okay? But back to servitors. Okay? And obviously in the word servitor, you have root in English word to serve. And a servitor, in essence, is created by the magician to serve their specific needs. Now, the question that always comes up, can you create a servitor dealing with sex magic and sex energy? If you so choose, that's entirely up to you. Okay? And I have known, now me, myself, I've never done that, but I have talked to, over the years, a handful of people who have. Okay? So it can be done, for many reasons, many purposes, which entirely is up to the magician or the practitioner who is creating those servitors, and for what reasons. Okay? And in chaos magic, as I said, it's a very eclectic path, right? It's, the best way I can describe it, I'm kind of struggling a little bit to put it into words. The best way that I can describe it, when you look at it in its essence, okay, when we use that term eclectic, it's really going to make you, one, broaden your perspective on things and how you perceive things. It's going to open you up to some practices that, quote unquote, may seem unorthodox or not mainstream, which shouldn't be a shock to us if we're on this path. Okay? And chaos magic will take you to places, and it will make you deal with certain challenges that you probably have not dealt with before. Okay? So it all, again, is determined upon the individual's approach. Now, the next question that comes with servitors is there any particular format or certain way, or is there a process written in stone that should be done? No. I mean, there's, like, again, I referred to Libre No, the Chaos Magic book written by Peter Hine. He gives you examples in there on how to do it. So yes, there's a lot of books out there, and just let me read something in a second about books. There's a lot of books out there that will give you a guideline or a roadmap how to create those servitors. Yes. And that book is one of them. But at the end of the day, this is about you figuring out your niche and how you're going to do that. The outline can give you an idea. But when we're using a very chaotic practice like this is something that should really come from your natural creativity as best as you can. I don't recommend you mimic or copy anything you've read in regards to this. I suggest that across the board for everything we do ritualistically, right? And also keep in mind, when we're doing things ritualistically, okay, we are opening ourselves up to a lot of this energy. Now, this question comes up a lot. Can servitors, all right, well, let me rephrase this twice, because I've gotten this question, this email. When you're done with the servitors, or you don't want to work with them anymore, or you're done completing them, is there a process to getting rid of them? And can they bind and attach themselves to somebody, almost like, say, a host, a spirit would, a host? All right, now this question's a little more complex, so give me a minute to explain this. The answer is yes, it can. Okay? When you are done, you should completely deconstruct that servitor and make it clear on your purpose or your intent. And that servitor should be, quote unquote, put out of business when you're done with it. If not done right, can these servitors linger around and cause you problems? This, that, and the other? Most definitely they can. Okay, and that's why I said when you're doing ritualistic work, you need to be right, because you're opening yourself up to a lot of this spiritual energy. There's an influx of energy. And don't doubt the power of your psyche. Don't doubt the power that's submerged deep down inside your subconscious mind. Don't underestimate it. It's some powerful shit. This I've seen a lot over the years, where people underestimate the level or the strength or the power of these type of practices. Now, chaos magic or creating servitors, this is not a practice for everybody. Okay? I don't suggest you do it, as a hobby or a fly-by-night magician, or it's just something you want to dabble in. No, make sure this is something you want to do. Do your research. Gather your information, and then when you're prepared and ready, if you make that decision, yeah, it's something I want to do, and so be it. But I, in my opinion, I'm not saying you can't, because people do whatever you want. In my opinion, this is not something. Let me just dabble, dibble-dabble in it and see how it goes, and then I'll go from there. I don't suggest that. You can. I don't suggest that, because 9 out of 10 times the results are not going to be favorable for you. I can tell you. Okay. So if you are thinking, let's talk about this now, of creating a servitor for a specific reason. Right. Step 1, you would formulate clearly the specific reason why you're getting ready to create a particular servitor or servitors. Right. Now, there's a way ritualistically to bring your servitors in existence. There's a way with tapping in visually through your subconscious mind, because you have to give your servitor well, first you need to be clear on how you're going to connect with it. Now, I've known people that give their servitor the whole looking like a full person. That's how they create it. Okay? Some might have different imagery with it, but that's entirely up to you. Okay? But step 1 is to identify for what particular reason are you creating a servitor. So that's going to be, in essence, what you charge it up with. And the servitor is going to be focused on that particular aspect. It can't be all over the place, because it doesn't work like that. Okay? Now, in rare cases, and I've probably only seen this 2 or 3 times, maybe 3 max, sometimes people get a little nutty with this practice, and they create too many servitors that can run amok. And if the servitors are running amok and wild like that, and they in essence are fragments of your psyche, right? That's gonna make you feel fucked up, right? That's why, if it's not resonating with you, it's gonna make you feel fucked up. Okay? So I don't suggest you create multiple ones and work with multiple servitors. Now, look, somebody might be listening and go, well, I'm capable. All right, then I'm not talking to you. Okay? I'm speaking more, so I got to speak as a whole. But if you feel you're capable and you want to work with multiples, then knock yourself out. But to the person that might be asking, should I be working, or could I? Well, not should I. Could I be working with more than one? Can I create more than one? Can I do 2, 3, 4, 5? Again, my answer to that is real simple. Each individual is different, and it should be based on a case-by-case basis. Everybody, the sound mind and sound body obviously plays a large role in that. There's going to be others who are more equipped to deal or have the ability to work with multiple servitors. And if that's you, then that's you, fine. But if you're just randomly asking out of the blue, I don't suggest it. Start with creating one, see how that goes for you. Because remember, there's also, and this is just my opinion, working with servitors is vampiric in nature, because you're extracting a very strong part of yourself to create this servitor. So I will tell you, there is a very intense influx of energies. In all ritual, there's a serious exchange of energies, which we know this, right? But if you're not sure, then to me, that's your answer. You might just want to first get this first one going, get it out the way, in the sense of, let's see how it's working for me. And then build upon that. Now look, all right, some of you might be seasoned vets, and I'm not talking to you guys. If you've been in this, doing this for a while, and you can work with 2, 3, 4, or whatever, then knock yourself out. One thing I can't stand is when people ask questions and they already know the answer to the shit. It's just like, either they need to hear themselves talk, or they're trying to stroke their fucking ego. It's one of the two. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But I just want to be clear. So now I'm speaking to somebody who has never done this before. Let's just say you've never even attempted to create a servitor. I would suggest to you start out with one and see how that experience goes for you. I strongly would suggest a first timer stick with one for a period of time until they get this practice down packed. Okay? Now, chaos magic and this concept is not a mainstream thing. Even in some occult, the left-hand path, right? It's not a mainstream thing. It's a very powerful thing in the sense it's gonna challenge you and test the power of your mind, or the lack thereof. The lack of power thereof. It's going to put you to the full test. Okay? And you will learn, trust me, you will learn how powerful, delicate, and intricate the mind is. Okay? It's very intricate. It's very detailed. On a multitude of levels that I think we underestimate. All right? So, kind of want to recap as I get closer to my destination. So, in essence, creating servitors, for the most part, goes back and traces its origin to chaos magic. Now, over the years, there's been a lot of books by different occult authors who dabble in and work with different systems. So you might find some different variations. Remember, I'm trying to use these short tutorials to give you, simplistic measures for you to explore this on your own. Okay? That's the goal. So yes, there's going to be plenty of other methods out there. And again, as I said before, if I'm doing a video on Chaos Magick and creating servitors, or I'm doing a video on Luciferian, I encourage you, go make sure you broaden your horizons and you do your research and pull from various different sources and compare, right? And see which, I say compare in the sense to see which one resonates. And it's just like this path is in life, you're going to find things you resonate with and things you don't. You're going to find people you like, people you don't. So get yourself acclimated first, in my opinion, before you start creating 3 and 4. Now, I know some people get crazy. Oh, I created 6, 7, 8. I got a whole universe of servitors. Be careful with that. Because remember, you're pulling from fragments of yourself. And not all of yourself is right. So everything you might see first out the gate, or label out the gate, with working with a servitor, it could be, it could draw out some negative shit. Okay? It just all depends. But let's back up. So when you first set out again to create servitors, be clear on what this servitor is for. Don't be vague. Okay? Because if you're very vague and you're not consistent every week, that creates a serious problem. Okay? If you're trying to create a servitor and you're not clear in your reason, you're vague, or you did it poorly. Remember, even in this practice, something that I talk about all the time is critical is your intent. Okay? And to fuel a ritual with passion and desire to really want that outcome, okay, is the energy that you put behind it. Okay? How much power are you charging this with? Okay? How deep do you want this to go? Again, that's entirely up to you. So if you are interested in creating a servitor, do your due diligence. Because again, let's back up. It's so critical to understand. You're pulling from fragments of your psyche when you create a servitor. Don't forget that. If there's anything if you forget everything in this video, and there's anything you can recollect, let it be that. Okay? Trust me when I tell you, let it be that. Because that's going to help you understand things. And it's going to help you moving forward about other things. That's going to be a tremendous help. All right? It's that simple. Okay, well, I know it sounds simple, but just like anything else, it's work. Okay? Just like anything else, it is work, people. Don't let nobody shit you or fool you. Bottom line. All right? I mean, I think I covered the basics of what I wanted to cover. Again, for reference, if you don't have Peter Hines' book, Peter Carroll, Libra No, it's not Peter Hines, it's Phil Hines. Also check Phil Hines' work out. They deal, and they, consider themselves chaos magicians. We all really, in essence, are chaos magicians, and I'm probably going to do some videos on that as time goes by, a little more in depth. But in a nutshell, as we sum this up, okay, most people will be in agreement. It comes the practice of it and how it came about. Okay, most people will tell you it is a chaos magic practice. Okay, and I'm okay with that. I agree with it because it is. Okay, but you know how much discipline it takes to pull from fragments of your psyche? Do you know how much strong willpower you must have, visualization skills? Now you see why I tell you in the Patreon classes, well, really classes in general, the importance of having your health, your breathing, and all of that in order, because it can affect your spiritual work. 100%. People ask that question all the time. 100%. All right? Well, anyway, having said that, I think I'm going to wrap this video up. So hopefully this quick tutorial gives you a better understanding of how to create a servitor that's going to serve your needs. Serve your needs. Let me stop. As you see, the English word serve is linked in that word servitor. And what they're serving is you. You've created a magical entity and manifested it outside of yourself by tapping into the power of your subconscious mind and pulling from your psyche and creating this servitor for a specific reason. Clear-cut, specific reason. Okay? So hopefully this tutorial helped you. All right? If you need to reach out to me, KHNUM19@gmail.com. If you want to book a spiritual reading, if you want to book a consultation, that's the email address to hit me up. And I will send you information on how to book a reading or a consultation. Also, the direct link to the Primordial Chaos podcast, the social media pages, Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram, Primordial Chaos, 2 words, on Facebook, where I also upload this new content, and the Primordial Chaos podcast, which is available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. Okay? The direct link to the podcast, the direct link or the contact email address to reach out to me, and of course with the link to the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, to sign up for classes and participate in group rituals with us. All of those links are in the description box of this video that you are currently watching right now. All right, so the next time you think about servitors, remember this video and think about some of the things we discussed here, and hopefully that will give you a clearer picture, a better understanding of what it is you're doing. Because my goodness, sometimes motherfuckers don't know what they doing. Anyway, stop joking and clowning. All right, people, that'll wrap it up for me. I should be able to shoot some more videos sometime tomorrow. Just wanted to throw this little tidbit at you for today. And hopefully this video helped, all right? Infernal blessings, and we will talk soon.